Welcome to Dalma Mix. In this video I made a variety of Stardew Valley accessories through the medium of cross-stitch. Stardew Valley is one of my absolute favorite games, and my favorite crop is the strawberries. I just love the way they look, and I just love picking them and gifting them to absolutely everyone in the game. So I thought, I'm going to gift myself some in real life. I started with an embroidery hoop and some nice green felt for the background. For this method, I'm going to use something called waste canvas, which is different from the normal cross-stitch canvas. It has fewer threads going either way, and they're held together by glue rather than weaved together properly. This allows one to unpick the waste canvas and leave the original background there. For threads, I'm using a mixture of different brands and different textures. I don't really care about stuff like that, so I couldn't tell you exactly the colors. I just looked at the pixel art and picked the colors that looked the closest to me from the stash of embroidery thread that I had. With this method, I just copied the pixels one by one really carefully, sometimes having to confront the fact that I don't know how to count. But I'm sure everyone who works with fiber arts has had this experience. I'm going to make a perfect pair of strawberries, and because the pixel art is not exactly symmetrical, I'm going to mirror the second one so that we achieve symmetry that way. Stitching, of course, takes a long time, so I'm kind of skipping through the process, as it would be rather boring to watch me make each stitch one by one. I used about 5 different shades of red and some oranges and yellows for the strawberry seeds, and I think it came out pretty close to the original. Now, another favorites of mine are the elusive blue chickens. They are kind of hard to get, but they're so worth it. So I once again gathered threads in matching colors, and voila! We got ourselves a blue chicken. My absolute favorite creature from the game, however, is the junimos. They are just so adorable and happy and joyful, and I just really adore them. I mean, just look at this little orange guy so happily dancing there. So of course, I had to stitch him. And I made a pair of them posed differently, as they are siblings, not twins. And I just like stitching their eyes last, as I feel like it's bringing them to life. Just look at how cute they are. Now, to get rid of that waste canvas, I'm going to use whatever I have on hand to unpick the threads one by one carefully, trying not to tug too hard, as I don't want to distort the design, but if done correctly, all the threads should come out one by one. It's a little bit tedious, but I think it's worth it for the nice green background instead of having a cross-stitch canvas. I know some people don't mind, but I prefer this so much more. Now, to actually make the cross-stitch pieces into objects, I first take off the felt from the hoop, and I'm going to use these wooden discs as backing. To do that, I'm going to cut them out with a generous seam allowance, and I'm going to glue them to the wooden discs. To make this easier, I cut some slits all along the edge of the felt just to make it easier to fold them over. And my glue of choice is PVA, because it's really reliable. And I'm just carefully folding over the edges, trying to not create many bumps. And I'm going to use some paper clips to hold down those edges until the glue dries. And of course, I do the same for the other strawberry and for all the other things that I stitched. While the glue is drying from the leftover felt, I'm going to trace out discs for backing the pieces, as I want the backs to be nice and neat as well, and I'm going to just carefully cut them out. I noticed that the felt is thick enough that it was leaving a divot, so I'm just adding another smaller circle to make the surface even before I add the final backing piece. And I did this to all of them, and I left them to dry for a few hours. Once dry, I've decided to use one of the colors from the design to add a blanket stitch along the edges. This secures those edges and nothing will ever come up or peel at all. And I also think it adds another aesthetic design element, as I think blanket stitch is quite beautiful. I'm going to turn these strawberries into a pair of earrings, and to do that I'm just adding some silver colored jump rings and some earring hooks. Extra jump rings to allow for some movement, as that's my preference for earrings. And of course I did the same for the little orange junimos. The blue chicken, however, I'm going to turn into a little magnet, and I'm using just small neodymium flat discs and some air dry resin to attach them, as it holds on to metal. Off camera, I made a lot more things besides these items, including this larger magnet of an ostrich, as again, they're one of the cutest creatures in the game. But I've also made a little crab, a dwarf scroll, a dinosaur egg, some corn, a little turtle pet, a snailsy, an emerald, and of course our most vital triple espresso. These are fun to make. I like to keep my hands busy while I'm watching or listening to something. I'm actually taking commissions on these, either as magnets, earrings, or pendants. I can basically make most things from Stardew Valley that are small enough that would fit on a disc. And of course, these would be custom made just for you. If you're interested, please have a look in the description for information. Anyway, let me know which one of these is your favorites in the comments. I would love to hear some feedback from you. I'll let you enjoy the glamour shots. Thank you for watching. I hope you're having a nice day. Bye!